Hi Karthikeyan.
Hi Sandeep. Hi Sandeep.
How-
How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Welcome to the talk.
Yeah, thank you.
So, how's everything? I heard that Cambodia has been doing quite well in terms of managing this crisis, much better than many other countries.
Yeah, life can be much better without COVID all around the world, definitely. And in terms of Cambodia, I would say from the day one till now, there have been 122 cases, and out of which 119 cases have already been out of treatment, and only three cases are still getting treated. So the government had implemented certain restrictions in celebrating Khmer New Year, which was in the middle of April. Today being the Labor Day, May 1st, and the government has asked no more public gathering and please celebrate it at home. So the government has been very cautious, and moreover, the surrounding countries have implemented the travel ban, so not many travelers are coming in. So it's a combination of both together, and what we have to be careful, and the government is also warning is about the second wave. So we look forward and we hope everything goes in the right direction and the world recovers very fast.
Absolutely. So,
Yeah,
Cambodia,
that's a hope.
yeah, Cambodia has been in kind of a turmoil since last year when the European countries started to, put pressure on the government and for various issues. And I think they have also stopped some kind of some part of the sourcing, some of part of the benefits what they had given under EBA to Cambodia. So, can you tell a little more about that? How things developed from last year?
Yeah, basically, Cambodia had its own challenges in the global, export market, I would say sourcing market. Basically, it had the EBA, everything but arms. The European Union was reconsidering whether duty-free benefits. Everything but arms means, all the products except for arms can be exported to Europe without any duty. So, European Union this whether it has to continue or not. So based on various studies and so on, by mid of February 2020, they have made a statement, made a judgment that part of the products like the menswear will lose its benefit in terms of duty, and the rest of the products, ladies and children, will still have the duty-free benefits. So even this menswear, which is going to be losing, not immediately be effective. It is going to be effective from 1st of September.
So all menswear products are now to be dutiable are dutiable in Europe, and all
In
ladies
Europe,
and
yes,
children's and all ladies and children products are not going to be debit duties from first September. I mean only the ladies and
that's
children
right.
come to be duty free.
Yeah, you can say so. Yeah.
So that means Cambodia is already losing some part of the business because what is the percentage wise if you can give some idea on that.
See, when we look at the business, Cambodia as a market has been doing about 64% in terms of exports revenue out of the 18 billion dollar exports last year or 2018-19. 64% is mainly out of apparel sector. So out of 64%, 46% is Europe, and US is 24%, and the rest is scattered across Japan, Canada, and other countries. So out of this 46%, if you consider 46 as 100%, 15% is straight away menswear. That's the expected numbers.
All right. So I mean that business is gone already. Kind of it's already gone.
Yeah, there were requests made, and the European Union had to, there were requests made by the government exporters to reconsider. However, the decision as of February 12th was, to withdraw this dutiable.
And coming to Corona crisis now, after this issue of EBA from Europe, now this Corona crisis has come. Now, what is the situation? after this crisis, how it has affected the industry, how it has affected the workers out there, and what are there any steps being taken to manage the crisis?
So as I said, Cambodia had its own challenges in the past, and one of them was EBA, and the second part was also increasing wages. When you when you position Cambodia against the neighboring countries or manufacturing countries, like if you talk about Bangladesh or if you talk about Myanmar, when the wages are compared, still Cambodia is on the higher side. So the manufacturing cost per se has been the highest between these three countries. Why I pick up these three countries is like GSP benefits. Europe is dependent on GSP plus benefits. So when you see that, Bangladesh number one, number two is Myanmar, and third is Cambodia in terms of pricing segment. So then with the EBA situation, it was not very certain whether only a partial withdrawal be there or the complete withdrawal. So because of these problems, part of the high summer 2020 and winter 2020 orders, which are to be produced between February or May, March to June, this part was affected. Winter 2020 will go up to August, September partly will go up to September. So these orders were affected already. So the orders for this year, owing to COVID situation, COVID-19, the raw materials are coming from outside world, and because of the COVID, the raw material movement were restricted. And finally, now we are talking about the store closures in Europe and so on. So thereby, it's a permutation combinations due to all Cambodia had lost its share considerably for the time being, I would say.
And the raw material were mainly coming from China, let's say a major part.
Major part for China, from China. There are Korean sources, and also if you're talking about denims, it is coming from elsewhere, Pakistan. Yeah, it is coming from accessories and trims. Some accessories and trims also from Vietnam.
So I heard that the workers are being paid in spite of a lot of workers have been removed, but the government is paying them something or something like that is there. So can you tell a little more about that?
Yeah, in this crisis situation, government is stepping forward to support the government workers and the manufacturers. So the government manufacturers will pay about $30, and the government will pay about $40 per employee. So that means per worker, $70 will be paid until the work is suspended. If the factory is normally functioning, then there is no aid from the government. However, if the factory cannot run, if it has to be suspended, then the government steps in and supports.
So that is like almost $70 against minimum of $190. I think wages are minimum $190 out there.
That's right. Currently, the wage is about $190, and the take home of average, average take home of a worker can be anything between $250 plus. So now, because of the suspension, the worker will get about $70.
Okay, at least the government is doing something, so they're compensating
Absolutely.
the employees, so they're not really going hungry and all.
Yeah.
So let's say if we compare the region, which includes Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, Vietnam, and these countries, neighbor countries. So what are the changing dynamics now after this crisis? How the dynamics will change?
What I feel is, it is too early to arrive at any dimensions at this point of time. The reason being, all the Asian countries are, predominantly dependent on European market and US market and many other markets. So where the stores have not yet opened completely. So there are few number of stores opened starting this week and last week, end of last week and this week, from Germany, or France is expecting to open from May 11th, as I read, and Swiss is open for only a few small community people. So there are many changes are happening only now, slowly, very slowly. So at this point of time, it is very difficult to arrive at a clear picture as which country is going to be benefited
But
out
vertical
of the situation.
integration. But some countries have better vertical integration. Like Vietnam has a better vertical integration.
Yeah, going forward, if you look at how the industry is going to change in terms of supply chain, then there comes the speed and also the vertical integration and price. So these three will be the main criteria, because globally, if you see, the prediction is such that around 50% of the labor force, including staff or whoever, the workforce, will be jobless. So that's a very hard number to believe. However, that is a prediction at the rate which the unemployment is going on now from various countries. So in that sense, the spending power of the people will go down drastically. So when the spending power goes down drastically, the customers, if you are pricing your product at the same price level, nobody is going to walk in and buy it. So they want a better product, and quality comes in. Now those use and throw culture gone, so they'll be buying for the basic, very important ones like the workwear, and the kids grow. The kids grow every now and then, so they have to buy the new clothes for the kids. So these are the two main areas where the products are needed in stores very often. So when people buy, they will not be looking at high brands or luxurious brands to buy. Even the people who are buying from the luxurious brands, they'll be thinking twice at this time, should I be spending so much to buy? So why should I not think of something which gives a better quality and better price at a better price? So why don't I look at options? So they will be going one brand less or cheaper. They'll be looking at discounts and so on. So if that is the mentality of the customers, what about buyers? And they will not be able to survive at the lower prices and discounts and so on. So they also need to look at the better products at a cheaper price. So thereby there will be a demand for a cheaper price, which again, if you're talking about Europe, they will be looking at GSP plus markets, where there will be a direct benefit with the duty benefits. Yeah, so even for that matters, if you talk about Bangladesh and Myanmar and Cambodia, these three countries have the GSP plus benefits. Yeah,
So, but
so there will.
yeah, please.
Yeah. So this is what I see as a price and yeah, price will be the one of the main points to consider going forward. Besides sustainability, sustainability will be there. A few years back, that was a point to discuss, but now this becomes the base. Yeah, sustainable social compliance, all that becomes the base. So how do we put the price in a sustainable way? So that's going to be the way forward.
So, but when we are talking about better quality and a lower price, I mean that is what that has been there, even before also. I mean, people have been always wanting a cheaper product and at a better price, better quality. So that fight has been there always. So I mean, now with this post-COVID, actually, people, the companies, the supply chain actually is in a much weaker position. If you see right from the
Yes.
right from the fiber to garments, everyone in the chain is weaker. So I don't know. I mean, if they will be able really to manage a cheaper price and better quality. I don't know. I mean, do you think that will work out?
That's the challenge way forward. What other options we have got? So we need to look at all the possibilities to make it happen. So if there is no spending power, nobody is going to spend. The customer or the consumer, end consumer, will not spend more or the same amount for the same quality of product. If a person is going to buy a product, he will be looking at a longer lifespan for the same amount of money. So this is the challenge lying in front of us. How do we solve? We need to put hands together, from the brands to the manufacturers to the raw material side to everybody. We need to put hands together and make it happen.
That's true. What are the can I ask you what are the main retailers who are big brands who are working in Cambodia, the top ones, and how they I mean in the current I mean are they still there or they have exited the country in the current crisis or like how is the situation out there?
Okay, for the time being, I would say, as the stores are not completely operational, if the stores are completely operational, then deriving a strategy for a slightly long term is possible, and that's where it comes like the sourcing footprints, which country has to be positioned where and all that. But now currently we are having a COVID crisis where the stores are not opening. In that sense, the plans based on the situation will be a short term, not a long term. So based on this short term, the geographical shifts might happen from one product to another product. For example, Cambodia has got its own strength of circular knits and flat knits. It has. So it might retain these two products to them over Bangladesh and Myanmar. There are strong supply partners under development in other countries as well. So in the sense, at this point of time, there will be no clarity. Today we are talking about today or in the next weeks, there will be no clear strategy from any brands. That's what I believe, stating, yeah, I'm going to exit or I'm going to stay. At this moment, all the brands would ask for or asking for suspension or postponements or partly cancellation. So this will continue until the situation revives a little bit. When the situation in Europe or US, rest of the countries are little positive, then there comes a slightly longer short-term plan. It is not still long-term plan. It will be a short-term plan. So to get back to the normalcy, I think it would take at least 6 to 9 months.
And who are the I mean who are the main retailers who are like hold a major part of the business out there?
Okay, the brands like if you're talking about Europe, there are brands like Adidas, H&M, Carrefour, Lidl, and M&S. There are many brands from US as well. If you're talking about the global brands like PVH, Ralph Lauren, Uniqlo. So there are many big players here. At this point of time, there is no clear sign of exit strategy from any of the buyers that I've come across.
Okay, so most of them are kind of confused and they're still deciding what to do.
No, it would be a short-term plan. It would be a short-term plan. As the stores open, they will have to see how the consumers are going to be behaving. It all completely depends on how the consumers behave in terms of buying power and basket size and what kind of mentality they are having. Or are they going for quality? So there are so many permutations, combinations, and this is too early to decide because the stores have not been completely opened in all the locations.
Do you visualize the kind of garments you already mentioned about children garments might be in demand because children grow fast. So that is one thing. But otherwise, in customer demand, do you see any major differences coming in terms of course price? You also mentioned they want cheaper, of course. But I mean, otherwise, the types of products what they're looking for after post-COVID, will that be different from previous?
Yeah, so first we spoke about quality. At the same time, what I also see is it is going to be we are going to be looking at the workwear and children wear in the children wear sector or in even in workwear for adults. There is a possibility that there is a need for antibacterial, bacteria resistant, finishes garments going forward, more sustainable fibers. Yeah, these are the fiber related and finishes related, and already brands in India and some of the brands across also have started importing masks, tailor-made masks to fit in the shirts or the workwear or whatever. So it goes as a combination. Now the fashion industry, many people are working around to put some embroideries or prints and so on the mask, which is also displayed on your page, denim and jeans page. So I see. So that's the direction I feel for now. It is a short-term direction until the vaccination is found and all the people are, have taken the vaccination across the globe. So until then, this mentality towards the products will be more towards, health. How do we save? How do we be safe and healthy as well? So we spend very wisely. So this is where I see the future is going to be.
And the Cambodian government industry is also getting orders for creating this health equipment, apparel like masks and things, the gowns, masks and all.
Very little, not many of them, very little, because not many countries are open for import and export. So thereby, the requirements as of now, there, globally, I have been hearing a lot of requirements, but at the end, export is a question mark. How do we make it happen? Raw materials and so on. So there are questions and there are difficulties, and it is going to take some more time to streamline all this to get into those lines. Full-fledged.
And there was a lot of investment coming into Cambodia from different countries, including China. So now, I mean, after this crisis, that those investments will be affected adversely, or they will still continue.
Well, say as I said, the way forward will be something like the vertical integration will be a point of discussion. That's what I believe. The reason being, the stores are not opened for quite some time, and when the customers come in, we cannot just say, hey, just wait, we will order now and get it. So we need to be, the brands have to be proactive and get it. So in that sense, they will not be able to predict when earliest the stores are going to be open because of the situation. Maybe 2 weeks before, 3 weeks before, they will get to know. So within that time, who is able to supply? So if a country which has got the vertical integration like China or India or Bangladesh, any other country, Vietnam, so any other country which has got the vertical integration would be able to, supply quite faster. So in fact, Cambodia is very close to Vietnam, just about 5 hours, including the transit time. So if the fabric raw materials are sourced from Vietnam, there is a high possibility that we move in that direction. The Cambodia garment industry gains out of it, but a lot more to do in terms of vertical integration within the country. That's the way forward. That's the future I believe in.
That's the point. Yeah. And do you see Chinese investment still flowing into the country because probably China, because of the China-US trade war?
So as I said, the vertical integration is one way to think of. At the moment, there were government, investments coming in. There were at least 78 projects signed off between Jan 2019 till Jan 2020. So post this crisis, we need to really see, because the whole world was suffering from COVID-19, and we will see in a couple of months if there will be more investments and in which direction it is going.
What season you will be working on once the factories reopen? That is one of the questions from 23 on.
See, as you have already announced, I'm no more with C&A, so I moved out of C&A. So just to be clear, yeah. So the global situation is such that we expect winter 2020. Winter 2020 is already affected, as I already told you. So what we'll be working on is summer 2021 production.
Okay. There's another question from India. What share we can expect business movement from Cambodia to India for woven? That's a difficult question.
Okay, see, Cambodia is pretty strong in terms of knits category, circular knits and flat knits, and you will never know how the world is going to change after COVID-19. As of now, you can only predict a lot of things, but it is a wait and watch game in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If all of the European countries and US countries are resuming to be normal, then we will know which kind of products are shifting from one place to another. Will India get the chance of more wovens and all that?
But as you already mentioned, that the countries which are vertically integrated will be better placed, definitely.
Absolutely. So it not necessarily for ovens alone. Yeah, knits also, we are pretty strong in knits. Summer garments, we are pretty strong in summer garments. And one advantage for Cambodia is licensed articles.
Licensed articles.
Licensed, yeah.
Could you explain a little more on that for everybody?
So the licensed articles like Disney and so on, these articles can be produced in Cambodia.
Okay. And it's got a good share of those articles.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like children wear, if you are talking about the children wear, the license of those, like let's say Superman or whatever, or Disney or whatever, it is very important for the kids to wear, and they feel very good about it. So those kind of charactered garments and licensed garments can be produced in Cambodia. Yeah.
Okay. And coming towards the end, I mean, what positives do you see coming out from this crisis? For let's say at a personal level and at a industry level.
Okay, the positives as of now, what I see, what I hear from different brands, from their seminars all over, I see the people have been utilizing this situation to a greater extent, and conducting their business online and trying to avoid, in our garment industry, going online is possible only to a certain level. 100% is not possible, because we need to be with the government, we need to see, we need to feel the governments. Yes, of course. At the same time, if you're talking about the fashion show is done online in Europe, it was done online, and many brands were already focusing on online sales, and going forward also will be online sales. And speed, the positive will be speed. So if you want to be in the race, then it is going to be survival of the quickest.
All
So you
right.
need to think of out of the box, innovative, and simplify the overall operations, and utilize Optitex or CLO, all this fit modules, and see how we can reduce the lead time. So we need to keep on thinking innovatively to come out of this situation as fast as possible and be ahead of the supply chain. Yeah, be ahead in the supply chain.
So lead time would be probably one of the critical part of the whole game, because every retailer is probably
Absolutely.
going to the lowest lead time possible.
Absolutely, that's what I said. As I said, it is going to be now or never. So are you able to supply now? Then we get the orders. If we are going to take 60 days, I need to get the raw materials from elsewhere, I need to get so many days for processing. Okay, so who's going to be the winner? The shortest. And of course, price matters. Price definitely comes into the picture. There is no second thought about it, because the consumers will not be able to pay a penny more than last year for the same or a better product.
Well, all of us really hope things do change for the positive, and we come out of this situation in the next couple of months. Many people are asking, when can we come out, but nobody can really predict, because the situation is so dynamic.
Absolutely.
So nobody knows about that. So let's hope for the best, and I really thank you for joining us and sharing so much information. And
It's my pleasure.
I wish you all the best, and so nice of you to come here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be a part of this talk show. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.